Hey, what is up guys, this is Cole, welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends account takeover, and in this one we've got one simple question that we are trying to answer. Is this account worth keeping, or should Mr. Banzai start over? Okay, his question, not mine, and I just turned my lamp off with my toe under the desk, 1 second. So this is the champion roster that we are working with, man. Good old Lucky the Deceiver. We have a fully booked Anga on this account, which is just incredible. I mean, looking at this guy's champion reviews, he's one of those voids that gets a little bit crapped on, but given that he's fully booked on the account and it's like a 7-month-old account in terms of, you know, login days, he will be able to do something for us, at least. Miscreated Monster, fully booked. We've also got the Royal Guard ready to rock and roll as well. I've got a hell of a lot of champion rebuilds to do on this account too. The Royal Guard is moving extremely slow, doesn't have 100% crit rate. His crit damage looks really, really bad as well. What do we have on the amulet here? Okay, it is crit damage, but the rolls are crap and, okay. A flat attack chest plate. Oh god. Okay, yeah, we've definitely got some champion rebuilds to do on this one. The Alice is looking not great in terms of build either, with the crit rate being exceptionally low and the accuracy also being super, super low as well. So, but in terms of actual roster, right, we've also played long enough to get Seal of the Drix. In terms of roster, the account's looking pretty good, looking pretty okay, and I mean, spoiler alert, I'm never going to recommend that somebody restarts their account at this kind of point. You know, we're off to a great start on this account in terms of roster. There's a lot of rebuilding to do and stuff like that, but I just think by and large this account is ready to rock and roll after some rebuilds. We've even got the Armiger at level 50, and he's also fully booked up as well with other copies of Armiger. Okay, lovely. Nice. Before we get to rebuilding the clan boss team on this account, if you're looking to start off a new raid account in 2025, then make sure you do so by using my beginner promo link, which is down below at the top of the video description box, man. It's an incredible time to start a new raid account, man, with Alice is the free login reward champion, and you'll also get Karato Fox Hunter if you create a new account using my beginner link, as well as 3 additional epic champs as you level up the account as well, man. So it's just an incredible, incredible way to get a fresh new start in Raid Shadow Legends. Not that I recommend that Mr. Banzai does the same. So what have we got going on in Demon Lord Clan Boss? I believe when I first logged in, there was a brutal chest for me to go ahead and pick up, and this is the Clan Boss team that we are using. Interestingly, it's a quad support champion team build or whatever, with only level 50 Frozen Banshee as the sole damage dealer. Let's see what kind of damage we do with this clan boss team. I'll skip ahead for the benefit of y'all. Very first thing I will notice as well, by the way, is that this account doesn't have almost any like preset teams built on the account, like using like the team AI, and so the Loki is going ahead and placing like his block buffs debuff. It is like wasting a turn every now and then using up block buffs on the Demon Lord, which not really ideal. Generally speaking, using the team AI to kind of like program your teams to be maximally effective against whatever boss they're going up against by disabling skills that are a bit useless is going to be the way to go. But again, let's just see what kind of damage we hit here. Okay, and it looks like death is just about imminent. We've lost the Frozen Banshee at this point. I'll give it like another turn or two to sort of play on out. I don't want to waste the key is all. Okay, alright. You know what, that'll do. We'll leave it there, man. I don't want these guys to die because then we waste the key. So we can assume about 11 million damage. Thereabouts, I guess. Maybe a little bit more. Now, to try and beat 11 million damage, this is the team that we're going to try out instead. Mostly just subbing in the kills. Now, we've got like a pair of damage dealers working in unison. And of course, I've also set up the team AI in the team setup menu so that Loki's no longer using his A2, so that Frozen Banshee's no longer using her A2, and we just kind of tweak things up a little bit like that. Let's see how this team performs instead. We might run into a bit of an issue of stacking too many poisons with this team, to be honest, but let's see how it goes, right? There's only one way to find out, okay? This team is basically on the brink of oblivion at this point, but we're passing the 12 million damage mark at least, so it's a market improvement. We're doing pretty okay. I think ideally this team would just not need the Loki in future if we were to tweak the way that we are building it out, as we tread extremely close to death at this point, but we're holding off for the time being. A lot of poison damage still to come in, so we'll just let this run for a second longer. I also think a big part of this team as well, or when it comes to upgrading this team, is going to be getting the Aox fully booked. He's currently sitting at level 50 still, and yeah, his cooldowns are pretty gosh darn long, you know, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and end the run after just like one more attack in, and we'll just leave it there. We'll just call this, like, with the poison damage still to come and blah, blah, we'll call it like 14 million damage, so a reasonable markup for the clan boss team. Another one of the main reasons that I mentioned the skill books into the Aox is because it's going to make his decreased attack debuff only a 310 cooldown, which would be great. So getting the cooldown reduction on his A3 would further reduce the need for Loki for, because Loki's mostly on that clan boss team to extend the duration of debuffs, right? He's kind of papering over the cracks a little bit. But also, if we get the Aox's A1 booked out, it's actually very good A1 to book out on the Aox, because it makes his A1 a double hitter with then a 30% chance of placing strong poison debuffs for a couple of turns. And so, again, you're relying less on the Loki for extending poison durations with the Loki's A1. And so, if you can eventually move away from using the Loki on this team, I do think that would be a net positive, and then you can start to replace the Loki, or start to think about replacing the Loki with something like the Jareg, who we have on this account as well, right? Jareg brings decreased attack on his A1, which, okay, we don't strictly need that for this clan boss team, given that Aox has that covered, but Jareg's A2 takes one skill book, if you get lucky with that one skill book, right, rolling into the A2, he brings ally protection and increased defense, and suddenly your team then is surviving for 4, 5, 6, 7 turns longer or something against Demon Lord, and that's going to massively boost the damage that you're doing as well. So, yeah, Jareg is a champ that we could look to for the future on this account to eventually sub in for the Loki once the other champs are booked out. Frozen Banshee also being level 60 would be a market upgrade as well. It's got to be said, she was dying very, very early in a lot of those clan boss runs. I've also got to rebuild her a little bit on this account as well. She's got a flat stat chest plate. She's got an attack percentage pair of gauntlets. She's one of those attack champions that just doesn't need damage on the gauntlets at all. Not even crit damage, right? Screw that. She kind of just wants like defensive stats and accuracy and speed. She's just there to be a debuff applier, effectively. Just taking a quick peek at the Great Hall while we're here, by the way. Good stuff. Love it. I mean, I would have liked to have seen like multiple rank 5 accuracy nodes at this point, but at least we've taken one of them and running with it. That's a good thing. We did spread around our medals a little bit here in the early game, but the first like 2 or 3 nodes, or the like first 2 or 3 points that you spend into a node, not the biggest deal in the world to make this mistake. A lot of players do it, but the fact that we're course correcting and beelining for the accuracy nodes now, great stuff. Now next up, dungeon teams. Let's start with the event dungeon, because this one is limited time, right? We're currently farming stage 13 of the event dungeon. We have some strong damage dealers on this account. I'm pretty sure that we can build a team to farm down to at least like 15, 16, something like that. This is the team that we are using into the event dungeon, which is a little bit unfortunate to see the Stag Knight here, only because the Stag Knight's not fully booked, so he does not have a 100% land rate on his decreased defense debuff, so not that ideal. The War Maiden, on the other hand, is at level 60, and she is fully booked up, and so she has that 100% land rate, decreased defense. How could we switch this team around? A good event dungeon team, if you're very, very budget on your account, by the way, is just some kind of speed booster on the team to ensure that you go first. Then like an increased attack champ, a decreased defense champion, if you can as well, for all of the enemies, and then just 2 or 3 nukers to just blast everything down, and you just kind of win from there. And this is the event dungeon team that I would recommend that we start to build out or think about using for the rest of the event on this account. And yeah, some of these champions, in fact, every single one of these champions, I'm going to have to rebuild, I think, if my notes are to be trusted, and I think that they are. So first of all, we're going to lead our team with the Royal Guard because of his insane aura. Increase ally attack in all dungeons by 35% is going to be huge, and so we're going to have him open up with this big AoE hitter. Same thing with Kills, same thing with Alice, just 3 big AoE nukers and damage dealers here. Yeah, to just wipe everything. And to help us out with that, we're going to be buffing with increased attack on the Doom Priest, and then the AoE decreased defense coming in from the War Maiden. Now, obviously, for this team to work, the Doom Priest and the War Maiden have to be the 2 fastest champions on the team. They have to go first, no matter what. And so if we're a little bit too slow with this team, we could totally consider taking something like removing the Doom Priest and putting the Haikatoon in the Doom Priest's place, and then putting the Haikatoon as the aura leader of the team, just to speed the whole team up, right, with that aura for speed in all battles. But this is certainly the team that I would use for the event dungeon. In fact, before we get into any more sort of like dungeon team plans, I think I'll go ahead and just rebuild some of the champions right now on the fly. Maybe starting with the War Maiden, just given that her speed is really quite low. She's not really that usable as like, I mean, she has to move before our nukers, right? Our nukers are actually quite fast. Look at the Kale's speed, man. 190 speed on the kill. That's kind of crazy, dude. And it's sort of like a pattern across a lot of our nukers as well. We have like a very, very fast Alice, but again, she has like no crit rate. Let's work on just getting the War Maiden a little bit faster and see if we can fix up our accuracy a little bit more as well in the process, I guess. Okay. Huge gear switch around, man. This is what makes my account takeovers take hours and hours behind the scenes, man, and then I condense it all down for you guys. But this is the rebuild for the War Maiden that we have planned out, borrowing some gear off the Haikatoon, not messing around too much with the artifacts because, the accessories, because frankly we don't have a whole lot to pick from. We're especially lacking pinpoint accessories, by the way. Oh my god, man, Bonsai! And everybody watching, man, if you're a beginner player in particular, do not underestimate the event dungeon, man. Whenever there are event dungeon tournaments active, you better be farming that son of a gun, because honestly, pinpoint, especially pinpoint accessories, fantastic artifacts to have on your guys. Just great set bonuses, right? All kinds of speed and accuracy for just having a few pieces of pinpoint on your gear in the early game. Crucial. Very good, right? And then great set bonuses for later on in the game too, once you have a lot more pinpoint to play with. But the accessories in particular for the early game, unreal. Anyways, this is the rebuild on the War Maiden. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about it, to be honest. Her defensive stats are about the same-ish. Her speed is going to be drastically improved. We can still upgrade the boots as well even further. And then her accuracy is going to be greatly improved as well. Now, this account has about 60,000 silver on it. I'm not actually exaggerating. It's about 60,000 silver. So, yeah, I'm going to be just saving all of these gear sets for Bonsai to equip at a later date, just when he's got a whole bunch more silver in the bag, which, by the way, there's currently a spider tournament active right now. Bonsai! I'm going to be telling you this in Discord, but if you are ever low on silver in this game, farm the spider tournaments, right? Even if you can only farm stage 10, that's a great stage to farm. Stage 16 is another great stage. Stage 20 is also great as well. And yeah, these accessory artifacts that you get from farming spider, they sell for very good amounts of silver, and it's a great way. Spider's Den is basically the unofficial silver mine of Raid Shadow Legends, right? So that's the rebuild done on the War Maiden. I think that she's going to be great, and she's going to be event dungeon ready with that build. Another build that drastically needed looking at was actually Royal Guard, right? Yeah, he was super slow, not 100% crit rate, just not the best, really. Behold, this is going to be the new Royal Guard build for when Bonsai can eventually equip all of this gear over. Man, the amount of value that we're going to be able to get on this account, by the way, from just using one of those free gear removal tokens to switch all of this gear around on this account is going to be unbelievable when the time comes. Like, we were rebuilding like 12 champions here, by the way. I won't show all of them, but you know. Yeah, so the Royal Guard is now going to have 100% crit rate. Lovely. His speed is only tiny bit higher, but of course we've got the perception boots to roll up, and so yeah, that's going to help things out a little bit as well. The accuracy also gets a bit of a bump. And we've also managed to increase his crit damage pretty drastically as well, right? It's not going to be earth-shattering stuff by any means, but it's a hell of a lot better than just 125%. And so, yeah, this would be the new Royal Guard build. Next up, Doom Priest is going to be another champion that we're going to take a look at. This is the champion that has so much longevity in this game. She's great in basically all areas, and I think she's probably going to find her way into some of the dungeon teams, and then she'll eventually be useful in Hydra as a debuff cleanser a little bit later on, mostly because of her passive, right? Her passive heals all allies by a percentage of their HP and removes one random debuff from them at the start of Doom Priest's turn. And what's really cool about Doom Priest is that she doesn't really require any skill books in order to be good, and she doesn't require any accuracy at all, right? She's a support style champ, but she's not bringing any forms of debuffs or like buff steal or 10 meter decrease or anything like that, and so she just needs speed and survivability, and that's it, right? Which makes the accuracy on Doom Priest offensive to my eyes, okay? She's in some perception gear all up and over here. She's got some attack percentage gauntlets on. Bonsai! God damn it, what are you doing here, man? What are you doing? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and rebuild this Doom Priest, man. Okay, I think that will about do it. So we've got rid of all of that useless accuracy from the Doom Priest. She just doesn't need it, and we've redistributed those stats into just more speed. Her defensive stats are about the same for now, but when we roll the gear up, they'll be looking even better, and she's got more health as well, and so yeah, she's faster, she's tankier, good stuff, you know. Nice and simple rebuild on the Doom Priest, man. I love champions that don't need any accuracy, man. They're so much more fun to build out. Next up, man, we have the Alice. We've got to touch on the Alice because frankly this build is one of the most egregiously out of shape, and this is a champion that I actually have the build already planned out on her, set up a little bit earlier on when before I started shooting the takeover, and so I can go ahead and just key this one in, and you can see how it's saved in the preset thing, you know, so that Mr. Bonsai, when he regains control of his account and he can switch this gear over, everything's going to be saved like this in the champion preset manager for each individual champ. And yeah, the Alice is going to be drastically improved, right? Her crit rate is no longer going to be a measly, pathetic, negligible, disgraceful 20%, but rather up to 96. Her crit damage might be looking a little bit low, but that's only because her crit damage gloves, which doesn't have good stat rolls, by the way, but it's the best we can do. We're a little bit limited for options at this point now, building out the Alice, but is what it is. Once those are rolled up, at least I'd say take these to maybe like a rank 12. They shouldn't really go any higher than that because of the bad substats, but hey, crit damage will be fine. Once she gets a crit damage amulet on her as well, now we're really talking bonus points if it's a pinpoint amulet, because that's 23 accuracy right there. Her accuracy goes up to 160, which is fine. Like, ideally it would be a little bit higher, but again, she's just lacking all of her accessories, right? And yeah, that's it. That's the Alice rebuild. What I will say is that Alice should absolutely be prioritized getting her pink stars, so that we can then get that 5-star soul on the Alice the Wanderer as well. Alice is unique in that you get that free 5-star perfect soul for Alice just by logging into the game at this stage. And of course, once you've got a 5-star blessing on your Alice, it's just a free bunch of accuracy. Is it like 70 accuracy or 75 accuracy or something? I can actually check. Yeah, it's actually 75 accuracy for free, just from having the 5-star perfect soul blessing on the Alice as well. So that's also going to help out too. So yeah, definitely get this gal ascended to 5 pink stars minimum as quick as possible and get her awakened. Next up, the Armiger, who curiously is in some lifesteal gear. We're really limited on options on this account for champions that can decrease enemy turn meter, by the way, which is why I think we're going to have to build out the Armiger. We're going to need him well, at least in Fire Knight, if not some other places in the game as well. He's a great economy option. Attacks one enemy, decrease 10 meter by 30% if this A1 is a crit. Very, very good stuff. You know him, you love him, right? What we don't love is seeing literally 97 speed is the Armiger's speed stats right now. At least his crit rate is where it should be, but the lifesteal set doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and rebuild Armiger, then I'll just blast through the rest of them in light speed. And once again, here we are. So this is the Armiger rebuild. He's losing a bunch of useless attack that he had. He had a bunch of attack stats coming in, which just didn't make a whole lot of sense. His defense is going to be a bit improved. Again, we've got a lot of rolls to put into some of this gear. At least taking like chest plates like this up to rank 12 will be totally fine. His crit rate, 95%. We can also just throw like 1 or 2 more ranks into these gloves to get him up to 100%, which we should do just when we have the silver to do so. Big concern for the Armiger is his lack of accuracy. He's really going to be needing like 180 to 200 accuracy to be taking on those stage 20 dungeons as quickly as possible, and so he's probably going to need an accuracy banner. Again, it would be a lot easier to hit these accuracy stat requirements on the Armiger if we had the pinpoint accessories, but it is what it is, right? We're also drastically increasing the Armiger's speed, almost doubling his speed, because yeah, you want him attacking in as quick as possible, man, so he can spam that A1 and keep down things like the Fire Knight boss's 10 meter, and so yeah, that is going to be the rebuild that we have saved up for the Armiger. And other champions that I saved rebuilds for include Angar, Frozen Banshee, Haikatoon, and for Aox as well. And so again, that's just for Bonsai to check out when he has the silver. As for dungeon teams that we're building out on this account, we've already covered the event dungeons, so I'm just going to kind of blast through the rest of these by going into the team preset manager, because just now off camera I went ahead and set up a whole bunch of teams like so, covering Ice Golem, Dragon, and Fire Knight, and Spider. I'll get to that one in just a second as well. The Ice Golem team is really just focused on having a decrease attack champion on the team with Stag Knight, and then we've also got an ally protector champion and in Miscreated Monster, who also brings shields to the team and stuff like that as well. You need quite a defensively minded team going into Ice Golem, right? The cleanses for Doom Priest are also going to be great for cleansing the freezes that the boss is placing, and just bringing a little bit of healing to the team as well. And with Ice Golem, another thing you can do is in the final round of the fight, you might want to go ahead and actually disable some of your damage dealer's big AoE skills so that they focus more on killing the boss's minions rather than hitting the Ice Golem boss itself, sort of accidentally with AoE skills like Acid Rain. This is one of those things that you can do just to sort of slow the fight down a little bit and make sure that you're not triggering the big counterattacks coming in from the boss and getting your team killed early, right? But yeah, you can also do a similar thing with Alice as well. If you want to, you can go ahead and disable her big A2 attack all enemies, and so that's something that you can do, right? For me, this would be the Ice Golem team that I'm planning to build out on this account. Dragon, you're going to need a big old wave controller. Anga actually comes in pretty clutch in this one. Haikatoon is the speed aura lead. Her build's actually pretty good in this account, to be honest. She's pretty fast, like 260 speed or something. But then long story short, it's a whole bunch of poison damage and max HP damage dealers with the Royal Guard and with the Kale teaming up into Dragon. They're going to do great. Now, why do I want to go ahead and focus on Finite for just a second? Because Finite is a bit more of a difficult dungeon to progress in. This is the team I think that I would be using in the Finite dungeon. Now, you need at least one champion like Anga on this team. It could be Miscreated Monster, it could be Anga. Just because the Anga is fully booked out, I think that he'll do fine for this. You need a champion like Anga to be controlling the waves into Finite. Very, very important stuff. Then you want some 10-meter decreases on your team. That's going to be Armiger and Royal Guard, as well as champs that can place decrease speed, which is going to be Haikatoon and Royal Guard. And actually, Haikatoon can also bring a little bit of 10-meter decrease as well on an A3, technically. But what's important about Finite is that you've got to speed tune your team. You're going to do a little bit of speed tuning for probably what's going to be the first time on your account if you're a newer player. And all that means is that the Finite is going to have a whole bunch of shield snacks when you make it to the boss. And so you have to make sure that your team is attacking in the correct order against Finite and is using a lot of multi-hitter skills when they first get to the boss. And then as soon as the boss's shield stacks are gone, you're then coming in with the likes of Royal Guard and his Hamstring A3, right, which is a quadruple hitter. Each hit with a chance of placing decreased speed and also a chance of decreasing the target's 10 meter by 25%. Like, you gotta come in with a 10 meter control very, very quickly and the decreased speed debuffs very, very quickly and just get the boss under control, right? So for the likes of Armiger, against the boss, you never want him to use his A2. He just wants to be spamming his riposte over and over and over so that he's spam decreasing the boss's 10 meter. Working our way up, the Royal Guard probably should not be using his Hamstring skill on round 2 because you need that to be ready for when you go into the boss, right? And so again, he's probably going to be opening with Hamstring against the Finite boss on that round 3. Very, very important stuff. Will also help as well that Royal Guard is probably the slowest champion on the team. You want him to attack in last with his Hamstring so that he's not just reducing shield stacks with the Hamstring, but that he actually finishes the shield stacks off and actually gets to connect on the boss with the 10 meter reduction and the decreased speed. Crucial stuff. It's the same deal with the Kale as well with his Disintegrate skill. You always want him to be opening with that and probably not using it on round 2 so that he can open up with a quadruple hitter against the boss. Very, very important. And then Angar's A1 is actually a double hitter as well. And so, yeah, we just want him to be spamming this over and over, right? We never want him to be using his attack all enemies against the boss. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so we won't be using him here as well and just letting him spam his A1. Now with the Haikatoon, again, we probably don't want it to use the increased speed on the round 2 and then to open with Rally the Horde against the boss. Just to point out, by the way, the Haikatoon's rebuild that I have planned out on the account will fix her accuracy to an extent. It's obviously very, very low right now. Her speed, though, is great. As you can see, she's also fully booked on this account as well, so we might as well be utilizing her, right? She's actually pretty good into Finite, all things considered. Now, why am I not touching on Spider? The reason I'm not touching on Spider is because honestly the team is doing fine as it is right now, and progressing in Spider really to like stage 20, it feels even more rough than progressing in Finite, to be honest. What we should be farming on this account, and what I hope we're farming on this account, is stage 16. There's no reason to be going into stage 18 and all that kind of stuff. Again, stage 10 is great to farm in Spider. Stage 16 is just a little bit better, and stage 20 is sort of the best of the 3, I guess, for like early to mid game to be farming those. Stage 16 Spider, this is what our team looks like right now. And honestly, the only difference I would make to this team if I were Bonsai is just removing the Apothecary from the team and just having Haikatoon instead. It makes no sense to be using the Apothecary here, really. He's not the greatest into Spider, whereas Haikatoon actually brings like a couple of good skills into this fight. She brings a chance to place decreased speed on the A1, which is lovely. She brings the 10 meter boost and increased speed, same as Apothecary, but she also brings an attack all enemies and 10 meter decrease on her A3 as well. And she brings the speed aura too, you know, so she's kind of just better in every way when she's fully booked out versus the Apothecary here. This is the only change I would make though to this team for now. Frankly, it takes a lot of specialist champs to be progressing in Spider, but stage 16 for where we are right now on this account is also totally fine, man. I wouldn't worry about it too much. And so now to answer the final question, man, the question that we started this video off with, is this account worth keeping? Is this account worth saving? Dude, of course it is. What the hell are we even talking about here, man? I'm not a big believer in oh man, you should totally just restart your account, bro. Oh, you screwed this up, blah blah blah, you know. Not at all. Not at all, man. Like, yes, it's questionable to go ahead and invest all these epic skill books into Angar. Doesn't make a massive amount of sense, really, but now that you have, like, he's going to be your Hydra Provoker, you know? Like, he's going to do a little bit of something on the account. And at the end of the day, if you were to restart a new account right now in Raid and just start over from scratch, how long is it going to take you to get an account that's better than this one? I mean, you're probably talking about, like, a 3-4 month no life commitment or something. One thing I will say is that we've got a lot of level 50 champions on this account. Level 50 champions are just kind of like a quarter of a champion. It's really not effective to have a lot of level 50s, so make sure that you are taking any level 50s that you use commonly up to 6 stars as quickly as possible. They become triple the champion when they hit level 60, and so yeah, Banshee we could take up to 60. Honestly, Jareg probably wants to go up to 60 eventually as well. I think he will have a place in the clan boss team. Doom Priest is going to be worth a level 60, no doubt about it. Aox seems to be doing fine at level 50 for the time being. I think the Blessing giving him extra defensive stats is really helping him out, so he can stay there for just a little while. But in summary, yeah, don't start over. The account is doing totally fine, and hopefully some of the champion rebuilds and like team plans and stuff that I've set up during this account takeover are going to help to give some direction, or like a direction to build in for the future for Mr. Bonsai. Hey. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all did enjoy this happy little takeover. If you enjoyed the video and you do want to support me, then the best way you can do that is by creating a new raid account, funnily enough, with my beginner promo link, which is down below at the top of the video description box. That will get your hands on good old Corrado Fox Hunter, as well as 3 additional epic champs as you level up your account. Best beginner promo link in the galaxy. And that's it, really. Gonna catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.